T minus 1 minute. T minus 50 seconds. T minus 40 seconds. T minus 30 seconds. T minus 20 seconds. Ten, 9, 8, 7, 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1, 0.
How's it, Laura? Evening.
Good evening. How are you, my darling?
I'm good on for this Wednesday, chilly, very cold midweek. Yeah, exciting stuff. Let's dash right into it. We've got the amazing Mr. Shaun Wilkinson, DA member, who is with us this evening. Hello, Shaun.
Hi, Shaun.
Hello, Ruth. How are you doing? Hello, Laura.
Hi. Ruth?
Yeah, so Shaun, tell us a bit about your project that you've been working on for the last few years.
Okay, so the thing that I was working on is called Sunnyside Up. And when I got the Ward 59, I looked at three things. I've got this huge plan to change the precinct. We'll talk about that, maybe the Groencliffe precinct. I've got a medium-sized plan for the commercials in the Groencliffe area around the sports clubs and the hospitals down to Loftus. And then I've got little projects in Sunnyside that I wanted to do to uplift the community, but I really wanted them to do it by themselves. I didn't want to spoon feed or do everything myself. So everything I start, I get volunteers in and they start running with the project. So the specific one we're chatting about tonight is called Sunnyside Up. How do you like your eggs? I like them Sunnyside Up. And it's about upliftment. So it's a catchy. I know Sunnyside UP, I had a conversation with a professor. He said, UP, people are going to get confused. No, it's Sunnyside Up. How do you like your eggs? Or where do you like to walk on the sunny side of the street? Sunnyside is where I grew up. I was born in Maryfont, and that was many years ago. And funny story, when I was born, I was so large, my father called me Kaunda. He was like, this guy's sitting waiting for breakfast on day one. So Sunnyside is my hometown. I used to run those dusty streets of Spey and Force and Flock, and I stayed when I was older with a guy called Shaun Molass in Spey Street, and we used to party hardy Marty in Sunnyside Up.
Awesome, ditto. By the way, those who are watching, please like our stream, and if you're not yet a subscriber, click the red subscribe button below, and it will go grey, and you'll become a subscriber. Laura, yeah, if you'd like to ask Shaun a question, also tell our viewers a little bit what we do too.
Well, basically, Talking Sirens, as most of our regular viewers know, we're about also uplifting people, helping people, making sure we get names out of small businesses and being rather informative, making sure we know people know where to get help, and yeah, that sort of thing. We like to be helping people, which is why we like having Shaun on with us. So we got a lot of helping people in one stream.
Yeah.
That's Shaun, when did you start Sunnyside Up?
So in the Sunnyside area, we got a few projects that we spoke about. We wanted to do some graffiti. We wanted to do some gardens. We were keen to do some shelters, or a shelter. We've got a Baraka orphanage where we've got young kids. It's like more of a refuge and an orphanage combined. We got little projects where people get involved, sweat equity. They get involved, they give back. It's the people, by the people, for the people, with the people, because of the people. And the idea is to make sure that it has sustainability. The awkward was that a lot of the things have got a social entrepreneurial aspect, like a tuck shop. Somebody has to rent it, somebody has to lease it. And with the council and the rules and the constitution and how it is, you can't set things up in my name so that I can establish it and then hand it over. So you got to get people to actually say, this is what I want.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Shaun, if
There
I
are
can
people
just
that don't like me.
Sorry to interrupt
Yeah.
you. Sorry to interrupt you. It seems that you might have one or two devices on, but it's fine. Your picture quality is a little bit floppy there, but it will be all right
I'm
soon. Okay, great. Okay, sorry about that. Yes, so as you were saying, getting people to help you, assist you in getting involved.
Yeah. Themselves, Ruth, because you can't be there all the time. The people who live there are there all the time. And then I met with a Reverend Dan Sibolai from the Sunnyside Methodist Church. My kids went there. Both my kids were christened there, my son Cameron and my daughter Kendra. And so I know the church. And the church is over 100 years old. It's a very old, lovely building, old organ, beautiful place. A lot of people remember it. They also, a lot of people I meet, Mark Fish, they went to Sunnyside Primary. It's the school that we all went to before. And so I met with Dan Sibolai, and he had the facilities for us to start a little soup kitchen. And there's a wonderful lady there called Mabel. And so Mabel started cooking once a week, and she started feeding the homeless. Now, the first year we fed about 200 people on Christmas Day. So there's about 200 homeless guys in that area, in the Arcadia precinct, in Clydesdale. These are the guys that you get to know. I'm not talking about the guys that are living in rivers and you never meet them. These are guys that you eventually get to know by name. A guy called Clement, who's a hip hopster, and he can rap and he can do lyrics, and he's an interesting fellow. And you get to know them, and Mabel started cooking for them. So she started feeding them once a week. We built up to twice a week. We went to 3 times a week. And I call it Mabel's Miracle Meals, because she starts off with a can of soup and turns it into a meal for 50 or 100 people. And then people started helping us. So I decided then at the end of last year, I need to put this thing onto a different tangent, because elections are 5 years. You never know what happens. And I need to make sure that she's got a better facility. I hooked up with a lady called Valdi, and Valdi decided to back me with an NPC called Adida Day. And so it's nice for me because I never touch any money. If people want to donate product or money or anything, it goes to Adida Day. She sorts out the certificates. I'm like a beneficiary on behalf of the community. So I said, this is what we need. And then we decided COVID happened and we couldn't do much. We couldn't cook. We couldn't look after the guys. Most of the guys moved to little shelters. And so it was a long 90 days. And when they gave us the first opportunity, we started doing soup on a Saturday. What happened then was there's a concept called CAN, Community Action Network, or Community Action Network. And I know the Union for Jewish Women were involved in a CAN with the Angel Network and all kinds of harvest, SA Harvest, and I work with Kadena. And so we said, okay, let's get the food, because the government says you can't cook at your kitchen. Our kitchen was a pseudo kitchen, not a commercial kitchen. Let's get the people in Waterkloof and Groenkloof and different areas to make sandwiches and make soup. So they make the sandwiches, we collect them. I've got a permit. I then started delivering it to different. The minute we could open, we started the soup kitchen on a Saturday. And we have up to 200 people. But here's the interesting thing. It's not just the homeless. These are vulnerable households that don't have a job. Waiters, waitresses, people who worked at the casino, normal employed people that currently aren't at work, working creches, teachers, caregivers. So we started feeding anybody who's hungry. And the amazing thing is we work with the Apostolic Church, the Catholic Church, the Methodist Church, the Anglicans are there, the Jewish, the synagogue, the people from the Jewish community are there. And the foundation of it all is, I guess, just love. There's no religion. It's people caring for people, and most of the time they don't even know them. So it's just people sharing love and sharing care and sharing the Sunnyside Up concept.
That's
Brilliant.
fantastic.
Sure.
Now tell me, Shaun, is there a lot more people that are hungry or are in poverty than what we thought there was?
Absolutely. We started with the soup kitchen, and normally we have between 50 and 80 regular homeless guys. Let's put them on one side. Add to that another 50 to 80, 100 people they look like students. And the awkward thing about feeding people that are hungry, you can't start stereotyping and categorizing and say, okay, he looks homeless and he doesn't. But when we give out blankets, we definitely give it to the people who look homeless. And we also check. There's a conversation. There's always got to be dignity involved with managing poverty or managing the effects of poverty, managing the circumstances like COVID has brought. But we are having people come down to see us. And what's amazing about the St. Francis of Assisi can in Waterkloof is that they're giving me liters and liters of soup. So I can feed people on the day, and then I can give people 2 liters or 5 liters down to the orphanage, down to where the old people are, different places where we have flats. So we have a nice network of recipients. And I would say that last weekend, another amazing thing happened. A gentleman used to give me tripe, tons of tripe and offal and heads of buffalo and from his game farm. Then he said, I've got all this venison. Can I not start cooking you some stew? Resident of. So I had about 1,200 meals. The next weekend he made about 50,000. Next one about 2.5. This weekend past, we did over 3,000 meals. Added to the soup, we got to 4,000. And we are just sharing. And then we had so much that we could go to Littleton. We went to Pretoria West. We went to Danville. We went to Soshanguve, we went to Pretoria North, we went to the old 101 there by the Bonneboom Airport, and amazing things have happened. People have cottoned on to the fact that they can give, and there's people facilitating it. So Alicia Milan from the Lucky Bread Company, she gave us all her bread. She started a little thing called the Lucky Packet or Lucky Bag, and so you buy an order of bread from her, and for 100 Rand extra, you get 30 eggs, 2 loaves of bread, 6 bread rolls. Then we were giving it, but here's the thing, ladies. We weren't giving that to the homeless. We were taking it to families in the suburbs. We were as far as Silver Lakes. We were in areas in Queenswood where people are reached out on internet. I've got this lady called Renelle. I have to say her name. She's my work Macy. She coordinates it and administers it and keeps me sane because she doesn't allow me to duplicate. She doesn't allow me to give my favorites. I have some 80-year-old aunties that love me, and I like to give them chocolates and Quality Street. And for a bag of Quality Street, I can feed a family of 5 for a week, you know?
Yeah.
So, sure. That's
so much more. To answer your question, much. And I think we're going to have more as the time goes on.
Fantastic.
That's amazing. What I find so incredible about your story. Wait, before I get there, I just want to ask Chad, wanted to ask Shaun a question. What does it feel like when you do great work helping people only to have government break it all down again within weeks? Surely it must be frustrating.
Let me tell you, I have nothing good to say about government at the moment. In my ward, where there's 30,000 people, they offered these SASSA parcels. I never saw one. 30,000 people, half of which are on the bread line. I didn't see one parcel. You can speak to any of the ward councillors in my party, even to their own. I've helped some of their own councillors with parcels because the difference is when his constituents say, you better give me a parcel or else, they mean it. And it's because they're starving. You won't believe the people that are in the flats. In Sunnyside, it's like an urban township. So we don't have the Mamelodi spread. We have urban townships. So we have a block of flats, 10 floors, 12 floors, 6 or 7, 10 units per floor, 4 or 5 people. So you could have easily, do the maths, 120 people in a block of flats, if not more. That's terrible maths. But you'll work it out later. The point is, it's an urban township, and the people are hungry. So let's be government for a moment. They got their own challenges with SASSA. But you get the amazing thing. I mentioned Alicia Milan of Lucky Bread, but then you get like restaurants. Villa San Giovanni, the Majorana family. Every week they go and they collect vegetables for their restaurant, for their takeaway business. And every Saturday I go and I load my Kia bakkie. It's like a Kia estate. I load it twice with vegetables. You'll see on my Facebook page some of the things I post. And that's all donations. We then turn that into parcels. What we don't put into the soups, we actually send to people, because people can't just live on bread. You know, they need vegetables, they need fruit, they need little treats. And they've been amazing. There's such amazing people that I've met along the way. I've got to mention Fortunato from Bix. He then feeds us volunteers. We go out there for a coffee, we go out there for a sandwich, we get a takeaway when we couldn't sit down, now that we can sit down. There's just these champions inside the network. And even the people who don't like me, I've got a guy in my ward who didn't like me because of power failures. He's like, "Ek gaan nooit vir jou stem nie." On the third day of COVID, he was like, "Gaan spaar toe, daar's geld vir jou." And he gave me a couple of R1,000 donation that we spent on groceries. And so forget the politics and forget the power failures. There are good people that want to help other people that are struggling. We leave the politics to the politicians. This feeding program, if it wasn't for organizations like Cadena, like Villa San Giovanni, like Alicia Milan, like Fortunato from Bix, and I've got other people as well. We have, absolutely. Let me tell you something. I'm blown away by the kindness of it's the Union of Jewish Women. And let me tell you, there's 2 ladies there, Siska and Grace. You've got her. They are amazing. And you know what's nice about them? We're mentioning them by name, but they stick to the adage, charities anonymous. They like phantoms. They like ninja charity ladies. They buy stuff, they drop it off, and they disappear back into the sunlight. And it's amazing. Charity should be anonymous. We've had so many discussions about posting stuff on Facebook. I try not to post people's faces, but I try to post that we're doing something to encourage other people to jump in, to lend a hand. You want shorter answers, by the way, because I feel like I'm
not at all.
These answers.
Laura, is something from the comments? Is there anyone wanting to ask another question?
I don't see any questions per se. Carl says it's refreshing to hear that, Shaun. Carl also said, do DA ward councillors share their wisdom with other sectors where DA rules?
Yeah. It's very, politics is a strange game. There are best practices in the Western Cape, and we try to copy everything they do. We have wonderful champions like Ivan Mayer and James Foss in tourism, and the guys involved in the city. So you look at what they're doing, you see what they're doing. We've got internal channels, and we've got Facebook, and we've got crazy social media. And we're very jacked when it comes to technology and Zoom meetings and Microsoft Teams and Skype. And so we sort of bouncing off and taking best practices. The Western Cape leads the way. But we've got a lady in Johannesburg, Sarah, who is like this absolute Mother Teresa of charity and philanthropy. And she's got an incredible network, but it's like not rob Peter, but borrow from Peter or accept donations from Peter and give to the less privileged. So each guy has sort of their own method. There is a lot of sharing, but I must tell you, and here's the thing about politics. We've got community leaders in every party, people that are doing amazing things. One of the ANC councillors died yesterday. And if you look at her pedigree yesterday or the day before, she was a community leader. Remember, the branches vote for you. The people vote for you. The people see your face on the poster. So after election day, you've got 5 years of looking after people. And in my ward, half the people in Sunnyside, where I do most of my work, didn't vote for the DA. But if we don't have that theory where you only feed DA or you only feed the Methodists, we drop that. We're human beings, hungry, if they're desperate, if you can help them. It's like a principle, like Samaritanship. You cross the road and you reach out and you leave politics for a moment. We leave the politics to the politicians.
Yeah. Hungry people are hungry people. Doesn't matter who they support.
Or what color they are. Or what color they are.
It's about hunger. Yeah. Can you help them? Do you help them? Can you help them again? But here's the challenge. It's very dire at the moment. People's circumstances. We've taken food to people with 2-bedroom houses who had wonderful jobs, but no income, no employment, no groceries. So what do? You say, no, you've got first edition books on your shelf. You don't deserve a bag of milli meal. We don't do that. We help where we can.
Exactly.
What we don't do is get involved in the food parcel distribution. Our party said, no, thank you. We leave that conundrum to the clever people. And I can tell you now, myself, the ward next door, the ANC councillor this side, the one opposite, 10 of us never got one parcel. So forget that. That's a joke.
Yeah.
Shaun, sorry, I just wanted to find out if people wanted to contribute to your fund, like if they wanted to offer food parcels or anything like that, or donations, how would they manage to get a hold of you to do so? Or where can they find
my Facebook page is Shaun. Yeah. So I will post it on your thing, Shaun Wilkinson, DA. I'm that good-looking guy. You won't miss me. I think I've got a photo of myself and my wife, and she's gorgeous. My rock, Cheryl, and you'll see me there. And then I do post things about the Deed a Day. The Deed a Day is the organization that's managing the funding. But remember, we've got this concept we started on day one called the Sandwich Warriors. So people wanted to help, but they were locked in their houses. How do they help? As a councillor, I had a certificate or a permit, and I could travel as an essential service. I would then we had 30, 40, 50 people to make loaves of bread with peanut butter and jam and all kinds of interesting toppings. I was very tempted on some of those avocado and cream cheese swamis, but no. We handed them out, and it was the luck of the draw. You got peanut butter or you got guacamole. It was your lucky day if you got the bologna and the cheese. And then every single Monday, Wednesday, Friday, people in Quincliffe and Macklenew, and let me tell you, not everybody loves me there, but many of them gave me sandwiches. And we would then go and distribute it. We would distribute it to the homeless. We would distribute it to shelters. We would give it to the orphanage. I've got Baraka Orphanage. I've got an amazing guy, Nicholas Geertz, who does home deliveries. He would get hot cross buns. He would get stuff from the market. So we definitely developed a network. I've got some youngsters, amazing. Ryan Bolter and Kika, her name is Frederica Paris, and Niran Naidu. They came on board early. And so they fetch sandwiches. We distribute sandwiches. We distribute stew. We give away soup. And the bounty just gets bigger. You know, the guy who made the stew used the same ingredients on day one to make 1,000 meals, and last weekend he made more than 3,000 meals with the same ingredients. So something's happening. I'll speak to the big guy later, but he's blessing us with abundance.
Hallelujah, miracle. Yes,
Where must
I tell you.
I've got so many cameras. I feel like I'm Spanish Jewish Inquisition. What's going on here?
Someone is actually, Zhao Lobos says to me, Ruth, are you drinking from a Batman cup again? Yes, I am, and I am in the process, well, not yet, but we'll get Germs mugs hopefully soon. I'm trying to look through the comments quickly to see if anyone else have anything to ask Shaun specifically.
Chat said, sorry.
Maybe while you're looking at the questions, let me just mention some of the people that have been helping me.
Sure, with pleasure.
So I mentioned top of my list is definitely the Union of Jewish Women, individuals in the Jewish community. The rabbi is blessed the efforts. It's been abundance. There's nothing I can't ask for. We've on my birthday, I asked for gifts for the orphanage. I got 25 hampers. I can't tell you, too much to carry. And the kids were blessed with treats and books and coloring in. It was amazing. So the Union of Jewish Women, wherever you are, we've got amazing people. Diane, she keeps on giving me toilet paper and tissue paper. We sorted with tissue paper for the moment. There's sponsorship from Sure Tissues. We have Renal.
Yes.
The New, that's the company.
Yes,
The New.
yes.
The New. In a say with a French accent. The New. And we have Renal Stratum that is just begging everybody for money, and we buy groceries. We get exceptional good prices from the advanced cash and carry. We make nice packages. You get a little sweet, you get a little savory, salt macaroni, blah, blah, blah. People are blessed with that. We've got Villa San Giovanni with the fresh vegetables weekly and bi-weekly sometimes when they have extra. I've got the AFM Church, the Apostolic Faith Mission in Sunnyside that collects vegetables. They have a bounty. They give me so much vegetables. I end up giving away so much. I have the sandwich warriors that are putting their bread. And then there's kids involved. So the moms are, okay, you know, my daughter wants to do community service, want to give back something to the community. So I've got Noor and young girls that are spending hours and hours making sandwiches for me that we give away. I've got sponsorship of hampers. Who did I forget? Fortunato, the maestro from Bix. I've got Alicia from Lucky Bread and the Gypsy Mobiles. And I've got Ruth Rom that keeps me on my toes with minted Russian tea now and again. and Nags for radio, for YouTube interviews. So I'm here now, Ruthie. You got me all to yourself. I mean,
awesome.
We're sharing.
We're sharing.
Yeah, you got to share with me. I hate to tell you. Yeah.
Shaun, so you spoke about your precinct. So how much, if I may ask, how much sort of power and responsibility does come with being if I may ask, being a ward councillor, ward member? So what can you implement and change? Because I think the average Joe in the street doesn't understand what your entitled role is and how that fits in with government, sort of with national and provincial and regional and all of those sectors.
Yeah, there's three types of, there's three lists for that information. There's the roles and responsibilities that the public think you have, and that could be anything. There's the actual official roles from SALGA and from your party. My party gives me a list of things I should do or try to do. And then there's the stuff you do. Late nights, getting power sorted, getting hot coffee for the guys that are putting up cables, cable theft. I've seen a lot of dead bodies in my ward. That's something it's crazy. I mean, you see a lot of dead bodies. You see backstreets abortions. It is crazy out there. And you go there because actually all you are is a community leader. You're an active citizen. We found a voice. The DA has been good to me. There's lots of support. We've got wellness ambassadors. You go through a situation. We've got a really good structure in the DA that supports us to make sure that we don't lose the plot. I know some of us lose the plot, but that's because alcohol was banned without calling last rounds. But that's okay. We'll deal with that. We're South Africans. So being a councillor, let me tell you, it's totally different to what I thought. A ward councillor and a PR councillor. You do get PR councillors that attend meetings. They're more politically able. We've got incredible strategists. One of my inspirations was a youngster, I was going to say kid, a councillor called Talia Brink. He just thinks outside the box. He's innovative. He's a good guy to interview. He's world class. Then we got hard workers. We got Ina Stratum. We got Siobhan Miller. We got Bronwyn. We got names that everybody knows they're busy, they're noisy, they're making things happen. And here's the thing. You got three levels. You've got political representatives in the council, which is under administration. And then you have regional management, and you have to have relations with the regional managers. I've got John McQuena. He's brilliant. He's always there for me. I've got Yanni Brooks and Andre Miller. These guys run electricity, and you've got to have relations with them. So when you get a call at 12 o'clock, somebody's power's out and they're still in the neighborhood, you can give them a call. We're on WhatsApp groups. So you act as the main thing is you act as a go-between the residents, the constituents, the voters and the council, the municipality. Council is different. Council is where councillors sit. The municipality has got 21,000 officials. So when people say, you must go put on the power, I can't do it. I don't have a spanner and a ladder and a Bob the Builder kit. I've got a lovely blue tunic, but that's all I have. I have to influence people. People have to give references. And what we try to do is we try to get people to take responsibility and keep their eyes, because we can't see everything. My ward's big, 40 kilometers. I've got Sunnyside, I've got Makkelnuut, I've got Lucasrand, I've got Groencliffe, I've got Kopperkop, I've got Schietbaan, I've got Littleton, I've got Groencliffe Nature Reserve, I've got Jumbo Rally, the UNISA Complex, Freedom Park, Voortrekker Monument, Tabatwani, and General Kemp here. And you don't stay in your ward unless you upset your neighbors. You become a city councillor. And you gotta respond to as much. I'm terrible with admin emails. Don't get me started. But I'm a guy who likes to have a hands-on approach. I like to get to the site. I like to take a photo. I like to talk with experience. Except when I get to Middle Street, where we need Jacques Cousteau, or what's that interesting fellow, the botanist who does the voiceovers, David Attenborough, because yes. Middle Street is a pause for a moment. Middle Street's not pretty, but people are doing something about it. So being a councillor, it's about motivating, persuading, having relationships. And remember, if somebody hasn't had power and they get power knock at 9 o'clock, cable theft at 2 o'clock in the morning, we don't have engineers waiting to slide down poles and to rush out in fire engines to your house to put on your power. They normally respond the next morning, 7, 7:30, 8 o'clock, have a cup of tea, get their jobs for the day, get their materials, and then they're in your area by 8:30 if you're first on the list or early. So people get very frustrated because they expect, I pay my rates and taxes, I want my service. In all that noise, I've got some noisy people. They make a lot of noise. And then you've got to listen carefully, because in amongst all that noise is a cry for help or a demand or a request for service delivery. So even though you can't always do things, I make no promises. I try to never make any promises. Sometimes I give expected times of repair out by mistake, and then it backfires, because when they take 2 days to put on power and the power explodes because there's a problem down the road, people hold you personally. You know, I've had to run away from angry mobs with tar and feather and milk tarts in some of the areas. It's crazy. Like throwing milk. Anyway.
No, Shaun, you do. I tell you, if everyone had your work ethic, and I know lots of people always say this about you, this country would be an amazing, amazing, wonderful, well-oiled machine. Yeah.
Thank you, Ruth. Thank you. I'm bringing you adoption papers. We're going to adopt you.
You can adopt me. I don't have a dad, so it's okay.
Okay. Big family. We're Mormons.
Yeah, big family, definitely. Carl says, Shaun, do you have any education programs to help the folks cope with these tough times?
Education for the people in COVID?
I think that's what he means, yeah. He says around in your community.
To adapt. Who's that?
Kyle
from Cape Town.
Kyle, we're going to have this conversation later. Okay, so here's the thing about programs. We've got so much information. We're getting information from government. We're creating information. We have Corona with John Steenhuisen, exceptional leader. He's giving the information out. People need to switch on their phones and not play Candy Crush. Although you can, I'm not saying anything about Candy Crush. You got to open your phones and you got to look at what's available. When the president makes his speech, we do summaries, and in an 8-page speech we cover it. We say lockdown, curfew, no alcohol. It's easy. You got to read this stuff, because you can't have councillors spoon feeding you on every aspect of life. There is information. There's incredible courses. Google is your friend. People, because the whole world is in lockdown, I've seen access to art galleries. I've seen access to libraries. I've seen access to courses. I've got Michael Shackleton, one of my mates. Let me do a little signal so he knows I'm doing a shout out. And he's doing courses on social entrepreneurship and all kinds of interesting stuff. And if you think I can jabber, that gentleman can jabber. He's a distinguished and he's earned his stripes. So people have to get involved. And if you don't know where to look, ask a friend, ask a neighbor, ask Ruth Rom. Between Ruth Rom and myself, we know everything. And what I don't know, I check with Ruth.
Shaun, you're making me blush. Come now.
Shaun, a couple of people have a couple of viewers have asked, do you know Ronaldo?
Ronaldo, the Maverick in PE. I do know who he is, and I find him to be the most interesting politician in South Africa. He is just over the top. He's a renegade. He's a maverick. He's like what's that guy in Top Gun? He just doesn't pull his punches. His gloves are off all the time. He's ready. He's a street fighter. He's a brawler. And let me tell you, we maybe need that. Sometimes the DA turns the other cheek, and we try to be polite, and we're not dealing with polite people in all cases. Sometimes we gotta get dirty and get in the mud, and not all of us. I mean, I like to keep myself quite decent, but Ronaldo, he's one of those sluggers. He's a real Rocky Balboa of politics. And let me tell you, he gets emotional. I've seen him rant a little bit, and I go, "Oh, if I said that, I'd be in trouble." But you know what? He's fighting back. He's standing up for a cause. He's got huge conviction. He's a passionate guy. Ruth says, "I'm a good guy. That act's a good guy." And let me tell you, he's dynamite. I like him. Some people don't. Some people love him. That's the name of the game. Not everybody loves you. Not everybody likes you. Some people even hate you. It's incredible. In my life, I had a job where people can hate you. They hate you. Yeah. But then I think I should approach like Johnson & Johnson or one of these medicine companies and be the poster child for bipolar, because the people who hate you when their power goes off, they kind of like you when it goes back on. They love you if it stays on. Get angry. So I'm teasing. Don't get upset. I know Doug's going to like rant and rave. Don't get upset. There are moods. But you must understand one thing. People are cold. Right now, they're frustrated with COVID. They don't have a job. But all they want is energy and power and lights and warmth, and then Eskom, you know? So the first person they talk to is their councillor. And getting back to Ronaldo, I've got nothing bad to say about that kid. I think he's wonderful. And I like he's got this like foot sack or sack clothing. Doesn't fit me. There's no 5XL, but what's it called?
Sack.
Yeah.
No, my dad was a colored, so I should say it like a colored, but then I'll get into trouble for appropriating another culture.
Don't diss your heritage.
No, I'm not going to say sack. So yes, what do you want to know about Ronaldo? I know everything you need to know.
I mean, he's a slight mentor for us, because I mean we sort of met on his stream as well as a few others, and they one of the reasons why we decided to start up this live stream, because we noticed that there was far too many men in the game. We decided they needed a little bit of a female touch to everything. So yeah, and he has helped us. They've helped us, recommended our stream to a lot of people. So yeah, we look up to them.
Say that we bonded. But tell me, what's Talking Sirens about? Why do you call? Are you the sirens?
Yes.
Are you the sirens, ladies?
Yes.
And so you make a lot of noise when it's a fight issue.
Yes. And we like the red flag on all the major issues. Well, we like
only
to be
thing missing is the Russian. The only thing missing is the Russian chief from Cafe 41, Ruth. Can you hear me, Ruth?
Yes,
I see you leading.
Yes, I can. Yes, I can. Yeah, sometimes it cuts up, but I am hearing you loud and clear. Yeah, no, that tea's wicked. Cafe 41 has it out to Greg and the guys, and they need all the support they can. Support your local little tea shop, your coffee shop, your restaurant. I know things are
Icon. Yeah.
You know. What else? I had something. Let's just check the comments quickly. Yeah, and also I think we need to also put out a different narrative to mainstream media. We need to inform people that there is hope. Things are going to get really tough, I think. And it's about connecting with people, Shaun. like you do every single day of your life. It's about making
Okay.
those relationships.
Yeah, I have to. I get complaints. I get a lot of complaints about a park in my ward. So I'm like, okay, a lot of complaints. What are we going to do about it? And out of the conversation, a guy says, I'll help you. I'll come and clean the park. So I make sure that I'm not breaking any rules. And a couple of days later, a guy called, just call him a guy. He also wants to remain anonymous. He arrives there with the whole team and starts sorting out the Ansalia Park. Then another guy who I've only seen on Facebook, Tony Fernandez, he goes, Shawnee, you need some help. I'm happy to help. Where do you need my help? So I said, Tony, I need the Magnolia Dell sorted out because at the restaurant, it looks like it's disappeared in the bushes. And I can understand that the workers of the city feel afraid and PPEs aren't ready, but our city is falling apart. Even worse, now that there's nothing happening, because you'll get to a point where you can't recover a park or grasslands. So Tony arrives on Monday morning with a whole team and a whole lot of people from the area. Other people send their garden executives, and he started sorting out Magnolia Dell. And you know what? The theory of if not me, who, and if not when, now, and if not, all those quotes you get on Instagram and whatever, it doesn't help just saying it. You got to get your hands dirty. You got to get involved. You got to understand your community. You got to know what you can do to help, because not everybody's got a chore shop that does garden services, but you can come and lend a hand. You can be enthusiastic. With our soup kitchen, I got Mandy and Amelia and Amanda and people that just come there and butter bread and hand out oranges, because this makes it easier when you got more people. And if anything, although I do say charity is anonymous, you get more pleasure giving, I think, sometimes than the people receiving it, because they're just at the end of a desperate arm asking for something. You're the one who's created that sandwich, made that meal, sharing it. Your intentions are good, and that gratitude you get is a bonus. But the giving is the pleasure.
Amen.
I agree.
Yeah. I just want to say, Shaun, as well, you spoke about you being loved and being hated. I think even being hated is positive, because it shows you getting up someone's nose and you're making a difference. And I think indifference is the worst thing. I don't know. Not that I'm hopping on it. I'm coming from love. And I think sometimes I said this to Ronaldo as well. You just have to flop your shoulders and say, you'll learn. You'll learn, buddy. You'll learn. So, yeah.
Ruth, I'm going to phone Hewlett's, and I'm going to ask them to put it on the back of a brown sugar. You will learn. You will learn. Ruth wrong. It's going to happen, Ruth. In your future, you're going to have a brown sugar packet sachet away. You're going to have a sachet with your quotes on it, Ruth. I know it. I just feel it. It's going to happen.
Okay, awesome. Done.
Laura, give me a quote.
The universe.
Laura, don't feel left out. Give me a quote and adapt it to the Laura quote.
Don't put me on the spot now.
You're on the spot. I haven't heard. Okay, I'm going to wait patiently for you, Laura. But when we go to press, we got to be ready, okay? Because that moment's happening. It's going to be minutes. Okay.
Okay, cool. I'm a Durbanite, so I'm like very different to like Pretoria and Joburg, and I don't know. Everybody says I talk funny. I don't know if I do, but yeah, I'm very different.
Where are you in Durban at the moment? Where are you now?
No, I wish. I'm in Joburg.
Actually, she's visiting.
If you sound like a Joburger, just tilt your head a little bit. You're fitting quite nicely. You know that, hey. Just talk like a Joburger. And then the Pretoria guys talk to the left. Hey. Anyway, listen, while I've got you, we're just shooting breeze. I want to tell you about a project in Makelnu called the Makelnu Commons. Have you been there, Ruth?
I very closely went there one day, but I do know where it is, and it is on my bucket list. Yes. Carry on.
So the community decided they've had enough with this untidy, dirty park that was being used by sex workers and rubbish dump and illegal dumping and security guards. And so they decided they're going to create a park for themselves. It's at the Telkom Tower, and they put a committee together, and they decided the way forward. And architects and landscape architects and housewives, everybody, engineers, builders, everybody got involved. They sorted out the corner. It's called the Makkelnu Commons. It's on the concept of adopt a spot. They have movie nights. You have a moonlight cinemas. And that's a community that decided to do something for themselves, And there are people that drive there to enjoy it. There are people that walk past. But if we could have more of that in the city, if people can say, you know what, if it's going to be, it's up to me. Be the change you want to see and make the difference where you are. Because you could, I promise you, I got so many complaints about the homeless guys on the corners and whatever. And then somebody gives them a bag of oranges and a sandwich and feels good, and that guy lives better for the day. You got to get involved. You can't just be a spectator. After COVID, you got to reinvent your humanity, because the funny thing is, it's not just the homeless that are suffering. We got increased suicides. We've got increased depression. We've got increased introversion, where people are like withdrawing and quite happy to be in lockdown because they don't have to see anybody. They're afraid of everybody. I see it in the malls when I go and have my cappuccino at Lucky's. People avoid you even if they know you. They hide behind the mask. Everybody's wearing a mask for real now, and they have to. It's compulsory. But there's this whole sort of, who am I? I'm afraid of myself. I'm afraid of you. And then there's reckless people. I see people at favorite spots around town congregating without masks, being in each other's faces. That's also naughty. But it's just this weird time around the world that if you don't have a higher power that you believe in, whatever your religion is, you gotta find your core, and you gotta share it with people. You gotta know who you are. Then how do you affect the people around you? And that's what Sunnyside Up is about. It's not me. I'm not doing anything. I'm the facilitator. I'm the driver. But the people making the sandwiches and the people eating the sandwiches are connecting on a whole different level, almost spiritual level, because there's giving and there's receiving. And although the two don't get together, we'll maybe have a breakfast soon. That's legacy stuff, because your kindness that you put out to somebody stops them from offing themselves or getting into depression or whatever their negative consequences. So I just think it's time to find our humanity, reach out, help people. You'll be surprised who needs help. I tell people in my ward, speak to your neighbor, speak to the person across the road. We're all behind big walls. Speak to the people who you never speak to because you don't know their names and you're embarrassed because you don't know what a word of kindness does. I don't have much to give. Being unemployed as an ex-councilor or future ex-councilor, I don't know what's going on. We'll find out. We've got this incredible team fighting for us, the future Mayor Randall and his team, Kazan and Paul. But here's the thing. Right now, we're doing amazing. We've been involved. There's a lady in Centurion called the Henops Revival, Taryn Johnston. She cleans the Henops with volunteers. Between 10 and 100, and the Church of God gets involved, and they take beds out and toys out, and they do feeding, and they just never stop. They're like, her and a lady called Tay, I always say Ty, but it's Tay. They're like Duracell bunnies. They just never stop. They always, and when they go out there, I've been feeding with them on the week. Wherever we were, under a bridge, behind a bridge, near a bridge, people were like Auntie Tay, Auntie Taryn, my darling, my majesty, my queen. Because there's humanity there. They're feeding people that have become their friends, and they're caring for people, and more of us can do it, and we'll change the world, starting in our own backyards.
Exactly.
I must be honest, Shaun, that's what we've said actually on almost every stream. It's a little bit of a small act of kindness goes a very, very long way. And the other thing we've been saying a lot lately is the biggest problem we have with masks is you can't see people smiling. And I think that's also bringing a bit of depression to everybody as well, because, a smile is contagious. And normally when you walk past people, you smile, they smile back. Now you can't do that anymore.
Yeah.
And I think that's really affecting people.
Greeting.
I keep my smiling for when I feast on paella from Bazaruto. Then I'm like, and that guy's been good. So in Kuntrip, lest I forget Paulo, he was paella for the homeless. I just couldn't believe it. They're like, for us, it's like, yeah, we cook for ourselves. And the emotions, we had Shaun, yeah, don't let me forget his surname, or scratch my car. Shaun de Villiers from the Mountain House in Glencliff. He came and handed out food and gave a sermon. Well, not a sermon, more like a spiritual talk about finding yourself and the water will pass. And it was incredible. I wasn't listening carefully, but if there's a test, I'd study for it. The point is just reaching out to people that are not in your community, that are not from your circle of friends, and just saying, hey, at the end of it, we all together. We believe in this freedom, the DOF principles, diversity, opportunity, freedom, and fairness, but we've got to practice them.
Mm-hmm. Definitely.
And we love South Africa. I think, sorry, Law. Yeah, Reed, I think we've got to wrap up soon.
Going into load shedding.
Load is coming soon. So,
well, I just hope they don't turn you off early.
Sorry about that.
No.
On behalf of the government.
It's not your fault.
It's got more to do with ESCOM, and and it's not your government. Well,
not the
ESCOM's not his problem. Yeah. So chat says there was a better. He says, sorry, another question for Shaun. Is there any drives to get winter clothing and blankets to those who desperately need it? Nothing worse than being hungry and cold.
Absolutely. So we're doing blankets. And we're doing warm stuff. The Union for Jewish Women is giving me beanies. They've given me gloves. They've given me scarves. We got from Becca, the bicycle guys. We got hundreds of blankets. I don't know, thousands from ladies in the Eastern Cape that crocheted the blankets. You'll see some of them on my Facebook page. We've got Eddie Jamino who's getting us blankets. We got the Waterkloof can that's getting us blankets. We're doing a funny thing with blankets. I can't tell you it's an adventure, but we're doing a funny thing with blankets. We've got Mark Isaacs and the folks from Jaffa that are giving me bags and bags of clothing. We've got school jerseys from another lady who had a school shop that she's not using, nobody at school. So she gave me all her stock. She'll get more. Absolutely. The things that are most needed are hygienic products, sanitation stuff, because the ladies, they need to be looked after and looked after themselves. We get Vaseline and lotions. Look, the pricier things are Vaseline and lotion, and the UJW, they sort us with that. They're incredible. Have I said they're incredible? They're incredible. They really are kind. Then we do blankets, we do beanies, we do gloves. Some homeless guys lost their homes. They lost their place of shelter, so we had to give them some extra blankets this weekend. And the basics are food. We do parcels, we do sandwiches, we do soup, we do stew, we do blankets, we do gloves, we do clothes. And we copied the street store, which we're saving up for, where people have the opportunity to come and shop in an environment where they don't pay. They have a cup of tea and a scone. They choose an outfit. Google it, street store. It started in Cape Town. They've done thousands all over the world. We do that, and we use the Methodist Church to give. And it's very difficult at the moment because you also want to keep your distance, but you do want to reach out where you can. So if people want to give things, the sky's the limit. I've got golf clubs, if anybody wants. I've got golf clubs. I've got garden furniture. I've got office furniture. I'm turning into a bit of a hospice, or what do you call those, thrift stores. And there's somebody for everything. If you've got something to give away, you're giving it with good intentions, there's somebody that will receive food, blankets.
Thank you, Shaun.
We've got amazing parcels.
Wow.
Guys in Brackband, the parcels. So I can't tell you how many lives have come strangers.
Yeah. I'm so scared our lights are going to literally go poof. So,
yeah.
Thank you so much, Shaun. We'll even have you on again, even with some of your colleagues, if you like. I think it's been a very informative discussion. Thank you so much for your time. I know it's very, very precious. And thank you, Cheryl, for letting you come on. Laura, you want to say anything?
And I just want to say thank you so much, Shaun, for joining us. And please, please, please come and join us again one evening. It'll be absolutely lovely to have you. And we can talk some more and chat some more, because I'm pretty sure there's a lot of information you still have to give us about Sunnyside Up. So it'll be really, really great.
Yeah.
Excellent. Ladies, let me thank you for the opportunity. It's been such fun. I'm watching the clock, Ruth. Don't worry, one eye on the clock. The talking sirens, what an interesting experience. For my Facebook followers, I see a few of you there. Please follow the YouTube channel of the Talking Sirens. I'll put in a good word for you with Ronaldo. He might just be cool for a moment, you know, Ronaldo without the tick. Anyway, and keep it up, because it's interesting for us to be part of your conversation, and I'll bring some friends next time.
Excellent.
Lovely. Fantastic. Yes, everybody, please don't forget to like this stream, as well as subscribe and share. Share with everybody that you know. Thank you.
Cheers, guys.
Cheers,
Love ya.
everybody.
Bye-bye.